Joining us now to talk about some of this, we welcome back Congressman Dan Bishop from North Carolina. Dan Bishop, thank you very much. So Joe Biden out there today, Martin Luther King Day, no unifying message from him. He called Republicans fiscal dementia and then proceeded to make a whole bunch of false charges. You heard some of them in my riff. You may have a few others of your own, but let's start with that. What do you think about it on Martin Luther King birthday?
Joe Biden knows something about dementia, Larry, but I think his accusation is wrong. What we've agreed to do in the Republican House is to begin to apply some fiscal restraint so that we can keep from going off the cliff. And that's what it amounts to. I think what you mentioned in your run-up, Larry, about taxes in particular, not only are tax revenues up, as you say, not down, but they now constitute 20% of GDP. They're up from the traditional 18% level, larger share of the economy in taxes, and yet they always say the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act is some big boon to the rich, and it created deficits. Well, it doesn't add up. It didn't happen that way, and so Joe Biden also says he's a big deficit cutter. They use that line endlessly, but of course the spending had been up tremendously because of the COVID emergency. He's done nothing to cut debt. He has piled on spending, piled on debt, created the inflation that we have. Nobody knows better than you, Larry, but that's the corner we have to turn to begin to move at least toward fiscal sanity. That's what we're going to do in the Republican House majority.
You know, one thing, I want to get to a couple things with you, Dan Bishop, and we appreciate you coming on today. One thing, though, I'm just thinking with the House now in Republican hands, including fiscal hands, the Ways and Means Committee, the Budget Committee, and so forth and so on, that the days of Republican Senate compliance with Biden's agenda will come to an end. I mean, Biden's got $6 trillion, he's got a record of roughly $6 trillion of new spending. Half of that was totally Democratic votes, but half of that was with Republican compliance, as you well know. And, you know, you're part of the Freedom Caucus, and you guys want to have much tougher spending rules and regular order rules, which was great, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But, I mean, I'm hoping that this Republican Senate compliance will come to an end. Is that possible?
It has to, Larry, and that's in large part about what we're working on to begin with in the House, so that they'll have to. We'll negotiate with them to do it. There'll be no way out because the House has to pass a spending measure. Now Republicans are going to be in control there. But yeah, I mean, the damage done by Senate Republicans, 18 of them passing that $1.7 trillion, voting for that $1.7 trillion omnibus, disaster, that's got to stop, Larry. And I want to have a strong defense. We'll do that. We can do that. But, those folks who just want to have the appropriations bonanza and all the earmarks in the world and let spending continue to rise at rates that cannot be afforded, there's going to have to be a turn. We've dealt with that in the House. That's what we did at the beginning of our Congress in terms of the majority, the Speaker's election. And now we're going to have to get it across to our colleagues in the Senate, frankly, both Democrat and Republican. We're not going to break the bank right on. The American people and the inflation they suffer, they can't continue to deal with this. You know,
just on this business about, first of all, Kevin McCarthy over the weekend, it looks like a unified Republican House now. Kevin is calling for, new spending caps, and there has to be a big spending reduction. He actually called for new spending caps, and he's calling for new sequestration rules. Those are the automatic across-the-board budget cuts if the caps aren't maintained. So that's kind of good. It's new, but it's good. It's what you all have wanted. Kevin Hassett, former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, was on our show Friday agreeing that there has to be a debt showdown. It's come to that, like it or not. And he suggests, and I want to get your take on it, Dan Bishop, Kevin Hassett is suggesting for every dollar of debt increase, there should be $3 of spending cuts. What do you think of that?
Well, it certainly wouldn't defend me, Larry. That's the kind of thing we've got to do. I think, really, if you go back to cut, cap, and balance was not a bad program. getting exactly the right detail down. Frankly, I've seen some people screaming about how our agreement requires that we not have discretionary spending in fiscal year 2024 that exceeds the amount in fiscal year 2022. And they say that in total, some people say that can't be accomplished. Of course it can be accomplished. And I think Kevin Hassett's idea is a strong one as well. We've got to turn the corner and begin making progress. We're not going to right the fiscal ship or turn it overnight, but we've got to start. And that includes all of the Republican senators who keep thinking that we can be on the party train forever. It's just, we're going to see a disaster if we don't see adults return to control.
And before we lose you, Dan Bishop, one last thing. Biden's have come out with some new spin on the student debt cancellation. They want an income-based spin. But in effect, if you look at this thing, nobody's going to pay anything. The Education Department has called it a safety net. I mean, student loans they're not welfare safety nets. Student loans are loans. You make a deal with the government, you're supposed to pay it back. And the whole point is nobody's going to pay their loans back. And he has no authority to do that because Congress never passed a law. So my question to you is, in your course of fiscal deliberations, can you do something about this? Can you step in either in the budget resolution, in the Ways and Means Committee, or someplace and stop this $600 billion giveaway to student delinquents?
Well, you're right. He's end running. He tried the cancellation of the student debts, student loans. He's going to find out the Supreme Court's going to stick that down his throat. So he's coming up with another way, this new repayment limitation based on income. It's an end run. Can we fix it? I don't know. We're going to have to, we've got a limited number of opportunities while we remain the majority in only one house of Congress to force policy change. It's a big one, though, Larry, and he doesn't have the authority to do that either. He's setting up all the incentives to go the wrong way, and it's a huge ticket. It's a huge ticket item, and we need to get on it. So I would say we've got to figure out, prioritize which things we've got to fight in this year, and but it's got to get on the list soon. I
mean, whether it's welfare or housing subsidies or just about any social safety net program, quote unquote, it would seem to me, Dan Bishop, workfare and work requirements should play a huge role, not only to get Americans back to work, but also to cut the budget. I mean, when we did it 25 years ago, it was a huge budget cut, and it was a pro-growth, employment plan. So it seems to me, just the last thought here, do you think the GOP will get around to restoring workfare and work requirements?
I definitely do. Part of our deal is on the Farm Bill, we are going to see work requirements return to the SNAP program, food stamps,
right.
or to be built into that, I guess, for the first time. It's got to happen, Larry. So, there are a lot of big items on the list, but that's one of the most important. We've got to return incentives to get people to be inclined to go to work and not build in, this idea about adding to your debt endlessly, and then the government will wipe it away. It's just not, it is not a recipe for success.
All right, great stuff. Congressman Dan Bishop, we thank you, sir, very, very much.